You know that moment when you walk into a room in your house and you simply forget why you went there? Or when you're talking to someone and suddenly the word you want to say just disappears from your mind like it never existed. Maybe you felt that tightness in your chest when you realize you can't remember the name of someone you've known for years, or when you have to read the same sentence 3 times because your brain just won't hold the information. If you're going through this, I want you to know something very important. You are not alone, and what you're feeling is not your fault. Millions of people over 60 are living this exact same struggle every single day, waking up afraid their memory is getting worse, feeling embarrassed to ask the same thing for the 3rd time, and carrying this silent weight that maybe they're losing who they are. But today I'm going to show you something that could completely change this story. There are foods that science has already proven are capable of restoring connections in your brain, protecting your memories, and bringing back that mental clarity you thought you'd lost forever. And I'm not talking about expensive supplements, complicated treatments, or empty promises. I'm talking about real food. Things you can start eating today that will work inside your body to rebuild what time and stress have worn down. If you stay with me until the end of this video, you're going to discover exactly what these foods are, how they work in your brain, and how you can use them in a simple, practical way in your daily life. You're going to understand why your memory is failing now, and more importantly, you're going to learn what to do to reverse it. So take a deep breath, because this might be the most valuable information you're going to receive about your mental health this year. Before we continue, I want to extend a very special invitation to you. If you're watching this video for the first time, or if you've been following me but haven't subscribed to the channel yet, I'd really love for you to become part of our community. Here, we're not alone. Every week I bring serious information based on science, but always in that simple and welcoming language, because I know you don't want complications. You want solutions. This is a safe space for anyone worried about their memory, for anyone afraid of Alzheimer's, for anyone who feels like their brain isn't working the way it used to. And you know what else? You don't have to go through this alone. By subscribing to the channel and turning on notifications, you'll receive a new video every week with practical guidance, information that really works, and most importantly, the certainty that there is hope, that things can get better, that you can recover your mental clarity. So click that subscribe button down below, turn on notifications, and come be part of this family that's fighting to keep their minds healthy and active. I'll be here every week, taking care of you, bringing the best possible content, because you deserve to live with dignity, clarity, and a strong memory. Now, let's get to what really matters. You need to understand something fundamental about your memory. It's not failing because you're weak, because you're getting too old, or because you're not trying hard enough. The truth is your brain is a living organ that needs specific nutrients to function well, and when those nutrients don't reach it, things start to fall apart. Think of your brain like a garden. If you don't water the plants, if you don't add fertilizer, if you don't take care of the soil, the garden wilts, the flowers fade, everything turns gray. It's the same thing with your brain. It needs fuel, protection, substances that feed the neurons and keep the connections alive. And you know what's even sadder? Most people spend years eating things that don't nourish the brain, that actually harm it, and then when their memory starts to fail, they think it's just old age. But it's not. Science has already discovered that there are foods capable of reversing brain inflammation, protecting neurons against damage, improving communication between brain cells, and even stimulating the growth of new neural connections. That's right, your brain can create new connections even after 60, 70, 80 years old. It's not magic, it's biology. And it all starts with what you put on your plate. Let's start by talking about a food you probably heard of, but maybe never understood its real power. Fatty fish. Salmon, sardines, mackerel, tuna. These fish are rich in omega-3, a fat that is literally the building block of your brain. More than 60% of your brain is made of fat, and a huge part of that fat needs to come from your diet. When you don't eat enough omega-3, your brain simply can't repair itself properly. Cell membranes become rigid, communication between neurons slows down, and then comes a forgetfulness, the confusion, that feeling of mental fog. Scientific studies show that people who eat fatty fish at least twice a week have a much lower risk of developing Alzheimer's and dementia. And it's not just prevention, either. There's research showing that people who already have mild cognitive decline can improve their memory when they increase their omega-3 intake. Why? Because this fat reduces inflammation in the brain, protects neurons against cell death, improves brain plasticity, and also helps in production of neurotransmitters, those chemical substances that make your brain work right. If you don't like fish or if you think it's expensive, you can use canned sardines, which are cheap, practical, and have an excellent amount of omega-3. But if you really can't eat fish, talk to your doctor about taking a good quality fish oil supplement. The important thing is that your brain receives this essential nutrient. Now, another group of foods that is simply revolutionary for memory are berries. Strawberries, blueberries, blackberries, raspberries. These small, colorful fruits are true antioxidant powerhouses, especially a type called anthocyanin, which gives them that intense purple or red color. And what do antioxidants do? They protect your brain against oxidative stress, which is basically the aging of cells. Every time you breathe, your body produces free radicals, which are unstable molecules that attack your cells, causing accumulated damage over the years. In the brain, this is especially dangerous because neurons are very sensitive to this type of damage. When you eat berries, you're literally sending an army of protection to your brain. There are studies showing that people who eat berries regularly have memory up to 2 years younger than people the same age who don't eat them. 2 years. That's a lot when we're talking about brain health. And there's more. Berries also improve communication between neurons, make it easier to form new memories, and even help clean up toxic proteins that accumulate in the brain and can lead to Alzheimer's. You don't need to eat a bucket of berries every day. Half a cup, 3 or 4 times a week, already makes a huge difference. It can be at breakfast. It can be as an afternoon snack. It can be blended with plain yogurt. The important thing is to include them. And speaking of breakfast, let's talk about eggs. Yes, that simple egg you have in your fridge is one of the most powerful foods for memory. Eggs are rich in choline, a substance your body uses to produce acetylcholine, a neurotransmitter essential for memory and learning. When you don't have enough choline, your brain simply can't form new memories properly, and old memories become harder to access. Many people, especially after 60, have choline deficiency without even knowing it. And you know what the result is? Forgetfulness, difficulty concentrating, mental confusion. Studies show that people with higher levels of choline in their blood perform better on memory tests and have lower risk of dementia. And the best food source of choline is the egg yolk. So that whole thing about throwing away the yolk because it has cholesterol, forget it. Science has already shown that dietary cholesterol isn't the villain they made out to be, and that egg yolk is actually a superfood for the brain. Eat 2 eggs at breakfast, and you're already giving your brain a powerful dose of choline for the entire day. Plus, eggs have high-quality protein, B vitamins, and other substances that protect neurons. It's cheap, it's easy to prepare, and is incredibly effective. I want to pause here for a moment and ask you a very important question. Have you ever felt afraid you might be developing Alzheimer's? That silent fear that comes in the middle of the night, when you wake up and start wondering if you'll be able to remember your grandchildren's names in a few years, if you'll be able to recognize the face of the person you love, if you'll lose your independence and become a burden to your family? If you felt this, I want you to do something right now. Go to the comments and write, "I'm afraid of losing my memory, but I'm willing to fight." Write that. It doesn't matter if it seems silly. It doesn't matter if you think no one will read it. Write it. Because when you put what you're feeling into words, you take away fear's power. You turn that invisible monster into something real that can be faced. And you know what else? When you write that in the comments, you're helping other people who are feeling exactly the same thing but are alone, ashamed to speak up. Your comment could be the push someone needs to realize they're not alone, that something can be done, that there's still hope. So go ahead, write it now. I'm afraid of losing my memory, but I'm willing to fight. And then come back to the video, because there's still a lot of valuable information ahead. Now, let's talk about a food that's considered one of the most powerful in the world for brain health. Walnuts. Especially regular walnuts, the ones that look like a tiny brain, which, by the way, is an interesting coincidence of nature. Walnuts are rich in plant-based omega-3 antioxidants, vitamin E, and various other substances that protect neurons. Studies show that eating walnuts regularly improves brain processing speed, working memory, and even reasoning ability. A very interesting study followed thousands of people for years and found that those who ate walnuts at least 5 times a week had up to 40% lower risk of developing dementia. 40%. That's a huge number when we're talking about Alzheimer's prevention. And the scientific explanation is very clear. Walnuts fight brain inflammation, protect against the accumulation of toxic proteins, improve blood flow to brain, and even help remove toxins that can damage neurons. You don't need to eat a pound of walnuts every day. A small handful, about 7 or 8 walnuts, is enough to give your brain everything it needs. You can eat them as a snack. You can put them chopped on your salad. You can mix them with fruit at breakfast. The important thing is to be consistent. It's no use eating them once and thinking you're done. It has to be part of your routine, just like brushing your teeth or drinking water. Let's talk now about dark leafy greens. Kale, spinach, arugula, watercress. These vegetables are true nutritional treasures for the brain. They're rich in folate, a B vitamin that's essential for neuron health. When you have folate deficiency, your brain can't function properly, memory fails, concentration decreases, and you get that feeling of a heavy head like you're inside a cloud. Besides folate, these vegetables have lutein, a powerful antioxidant that accumulates in the brain and protects against cognitive aging. Studies show that older people who eat dark leafy greens every day have functionally younger brains, as if they were up to 11 years younger than people the same age who don't eat them. 11 years! Imagine having your brain functioning as if you were 11 years younger. That completely changes quality of life. You can think faster, remember better, make decisions with more clarity. And all this just from eating a salad or some sautéed kale every day. It's simple, it's cheap, it's accessible. There's no excuse. If you don't like raw salad, sauté it, make soup, blend it with fruit, and make a green juice. The important thing is to get these vegetables into your life every single day without fail. Another food that deserves attention is pumpkin seeds. These tiny seeds are incredibly rich in zinc, magnesium, iron, and copper, all essential minerals for brain function. Zinc, for example, is fundamental for communication between neurons, and zinc deficiency is directly linked to memory problems and cognitive decline. Magnesium helps regulate electrical activity in the brain, improves sleep, and reduces stress, which we know is a major enemy of memory. Iron ensures your brain receives enough oxygen, because without oxygen, neurons die quickly. And copper participates in production of neurotransmitters. When you eat a handful of pumpkin seeds, you're giving your brain all these minerals at once. It's like a natural multivitamin, only much more bioavailable and effective. You can eat them roasted as a snack. You can toss them on top of your salad. You can mix them with yogurt. It's versatile, it's tasty, and it makes a huge difference in your brain health. And we can't forget about dark chocolate. Yes, chocolate can be good for memory, as long as it's the right kind. I'm talking about chocolate with at least 70% cocoa, not those milk chocolates full of sugar. Cocoa is rich in flavonoids, antioxidant substances that improve blood flow to the brain, stimulate the growth of new neurons, and improve brain plasticity. Studies show that people who consume dark chocolate regularly have better memory, better attention, and faster mental processing. Plus, dark chocolate also improves mood, and that's important because depression and anxiety are risk factors for dementia. When you're sad, stressed, anxious, your brain produces hormones that are toxic to neurons. Chocolate helps balance this, promoting well-being and protecting the brain at the same time. Of course, you shouldn't eat a whole bar every day. 2 or 3 squares are enough. And remember, it has to be real dark chocolate with 70% cocoa or more. Let's talk now about teas, especially green tea. Green tea contains an antioxidant called EGCG, which is one of the most powerful on the planet when it comes to brain protection. This antioxidant crosses a barrier that protects the brain and goes straight to work inside the neurons, protecting against damage, reducing inflammation, and stimulating production of new brain cells. Studies show that people who drink green tea regularly have lower risk of cognitive decline and dementia. And it's not just the EGCG. Green tea also has an amino acid called L-theanine, which improves attention, reduces anxiety, and promotes a state of relaxed alertness, which is perfect for brain function. You stay calm, but at the same time focused and with a clear mind. Drinking 2 or 3 cups of green tea a day can make a huge difference in your memory and mental clarity. And if you don't like the taste, you can sweeten it with a little honey, which, by the way, also has beneficial properties for the brain. Now, I need to talk about something very important. It's no use eating these foods if you keep filling your body with things that destroy your brain. Refined sugar, trans fats, ultra-processed foods, sodas, chips, all these things are poison for neurons. They cause chronic inflammation, increase oxidative stress, harm blood circulation, and accelerate brain aging. If you really want to protect your memory, you need to make a choice. You can't eat a handful of walnuts and think everything's fine while drinking soda and eating cookies every day. It has to be a real change, a conscious decision to choose foods that nourish instead of foods that destroy. And I know it's not easy. I know we were raised eating certain things, that there are old habits, that sometimes it's more practical to grab something ready-made than to prepare real food. But I need to be honest with you. If you don't change now, things are going to get worse. Your memory will keep failing. The fear will keep growing. And in a few years, you could be in a much more difficult situation. But if you choose to start today, if you choose to put these foods in your life and remove the junk, you're going to see the difference. It's not overnight. But in a few weeks, you'll already notice you're more clear-headed, that you can remember things better, that the mental confusion has decreased. And over time, the benefits will only increase. One thing many people don't know is that gut health also directly affects memory. There's a very strong connection between the gut and the brain called the gut-brain axis. When your gut isn't healthy, when you have intestinal inflammation, when your bacterial flora is unbalanced, it directly affects how your brain functions. That's why fermented foods like plain yogurt, kefir, sauerkraut, kimchi are so important. They provide beneficial bacteria that help keep your gut healthy, and this is reflected in better mood, better memory, less brain inflammation. If you've never eaten fermented foods, start slowly with small amounts so your body can adjust. A small container of plain yogurt without sugar every day already makes a big difference. And we can't forget about water. It seems too simple, but dehydration is one of the most common causes of mental confusion and memory failure in older people. When you don't drink enough water, your brain literally shrinks and communication between neurons is impaired. Often people think they have Alzheimer's, when actually they're just chronically dehydrated. You need to drink at least 1.5 to 2 liters of water a day. And coffee doesn't count. Soda doesn't count. Juice doesn't count. Pure water. If you have trouble drinking water, set reminders on your phone. Keep a water bottle nearby at all times. Drink a glass as soon as you wake up. Drink a glass before each meal. It becomes a habit, and your brain will be immensely grateful. Now I want to give you practical guidance on how to start including all these foods in your routine. At breakfast, you can have 2 scrambled or boiled eggs with a slice of whole grain bread and a handful of berries. Have a green tea or coffee without sugar. Mid-morning, eat a small handful of walnuts or pumpkin seeds. At lunch, make a colorful plate with lots of dark leafy greens, a portion of fish or chicken and brown rice or sweet potato. For an afternoon snack, it can be plain yogurt with berries and a little honey. At dinner, something lighter like vegetable soup or a salad with tuna. And if you get that sweet craving at night, eat 2 squares of dark chocolate. See how it's not complicated? These are simple foods that you can find at any grocery store that don't cost a fortune and that will completely transform your brain health. The secret isn't in doing fancy things. It's in being consistent with simple things. I know you might be thinking, but does this really work? Is it worth it? And I answer you with complete honesty. It works. I've seen hundreds of people improving their memory, recovering mental clarity, regaining confidence in themselves just by changing their diet. It's not an empty promise. It's proven science. Of course, every body is different. Everyone responds differently. But the principles are the same. When you nourish your brain with the right foods, it works better. It's that simple. And even if you already have some degree of cognitive decline, Even if you've already been diagnosed with memory problems, there's still time to improve. The brain has an incredible capacity to regenerate when it receives the right nutrients and when we stop bombarding it with toxins. So don't give up. Don't accept that memory loss is just old age and there's nothing you can do. There is, and it starts on your plate. Another very important thing is that these foods don't work alone. They function best when combined with other healthy habits, like regular physical exercise, quality sleep, stress management, and mental stimulation. You can't expect to eat sardines and walnuts and sit on the couch all day doing nothing. You have to move your body. You have to sleep right. You have to read, talk, learn new things. All of this works together to keep your brain young and healthy. But diet is the foundation. It's the fuel that will allow everything else to work. So start there. Adjust your diet, and then gradually add the other habits. And there's one more thing I need to tell you. If you made it this far in the video, it's because you truly care about your health, your memory, your future. And that's already half the battle. Most people don't even look for information, don't even try to do things differently. They just accept decline as inevitable and wait for the worst to happen. But not you. You're here, you're learning, you're willing to make changes. And that's beautiful. That shows you have strength, that you have hope, that you still believe you can have a long, clear-minded, dignified life. And I want to tell you that you're absolutely right. You can. And I'm going to be here every week bringing more information, more guidance, more tools to help you on this journey. Because you don't deserve to go through this alone. You deserve to have access to the best available knowledge in a simple and clear way so you can make the best decisions about your health. So subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Turn on notifications and come walk with me on this journey of taking care of your brain and keeping your memory alive. If this video helped you, leave a like down below because that helps other people find this information too. And if you know someone who's struggling with memory problems, share this video with that person. It could be a family member, a friend, a neighbor. You could be changing someone's life by sharing this knowledge. I'll leave you here, but I'll see you in the next video. A big hug. Take good care of yourself. And remember, it's never too late to start taking care of your brain.